This week on The Week Ahead, we have an exclusive interview with Congressman Austin Scott of Georgia. Plus, we look at the horrors throughout history that were the result of centralizing government. Welcome to The Week Ahead. I'm Frank McCaffrey. Congressman Austin Scott of Georgia has developed legislation to reform the National Labor Relations Board. He spoke with Americans for Limited Government about what the NLRB has meant for us and what this bill means for the NLRB. Georgia Congressman Austin Scott fears that the National Labor Relations Board will chase jobs out of Georgia, much like it's tried to do in South Carolina.
I mean, obviously, a company like Boeing is big enough to invest in America. So had they chosen to go to another country, the NLRB ruling would not have been an issue for them. And so I think that now that we've seen the NLRB willing to kill jobs in South Carolina, certainly they're perfectly willing to kill them in Georgia and other states as well.
So what is his legislation?
It simply takes away all of the judicial powers that the NLRB has, and again, puts it in the courts where everybody else has to have their decisions made.
The congressman fears that the National Labor Relations Board will cost a lot of jobs rather than create them.
The fact of the matter is many of the men and women in the unions recognize that we've unioned ourselves out of a lot of the jobs in this country. When's the last time you bought an American-made power tool? You know, those were good-paying, predominantly union jobs that no longer exist in this country.
Scott has a background working in business. Now, we at Americans for Limited Government fight against big government in America. Now, while we know our nation will never experience the type of horrors that centralized government has caused other countries throughout history, we decided to take a look at what the end result of centralizing government has been throughout time. The concept of centralizing government and an economy has created horrifying results throughout history. In the 20th century, China fell into the hands of a Machiavellian, egomaniacal, and charismatic leader.
Tse-Tung starts out like most eventual dictators. He starts out as a reformer, but that road of reform, that road of good intentions, always seems to lead to one place. Concentration camps, mass murder, and poverty and despair for their citizens.
Mao centralized government, centralized the economy, and became drunk with his power. His bad decisions cost millions of his own people's lives.
Everything that the modern liberal says they love, Mao totally stepped on. He's ruined the environment. The idea of a woman's right to choose, yeah, she had a choice. One kid. That's it. No other choice. Everything that the modern American left embraces are the very values that end up getting destroyed by the economic policies they pursue.
The Soviet Union's centralization of power and economy also led to horrific results. One evil leader showed he could take control and murder millions of his own people.
Much like Mao, Stalin came up in a system where the Bolsheviks, the Soviets, had really not yet completely established their system. Stalin took over the entire of the Soviet Union using the most heinous of methods. He literally starved millions of people as a matter of public policy that, on paper, was only doing it for the good of everyone. And all of this was for what? For in any way opposing the dictates of the regime.
Eventually, a centralized government and economy bankrupted the Soviet Union. Once you start on the path to centralization, is there any turning back?
You know, the history, whether it is a communist dictator or just an authoritarian thug, anytime this concept that a central small little clique can know best always leads to one thing. A total authoritarian rule.
An interesting note here, we did not get comment from people who could give an autobiographical sketch of what it was like to live under those regimes. We recognized that a number of them were still too fearful to talk about that. And that's all the time we have for the week ahead. Please join us again next time. For more on these and other topics, visit netrightdaily.com.